Have you ever paused to consider what it truly means to live a fulfilling, meaningful life after reaching the age of 70? If you haven't, or even if you have, I invite you to join me on a reflective journey where I'll share the 11 powerful things I decided to let go of once I entered my seventh decade. These were not just superficial changes, but profound shifts that transformed my life into one that is now rich with peace, joy, and a renewed sense of purpose. Whether you're approaching your 70s, already there, or perhaps even beyond, the insights I'm about to share with you can help you redefine your life at any stage. It's never too late to let go of what no longer serves you and focus instead on what truly matters. By the end of this video, you'll have practical steps that can spark your own transformation, guiding you toward a more meaningful and joyful chapter of your life. But before we dive into these powerful insights, if you're not yet subscribed, I highly recommend that you do so and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any of the valuable content I share. Your support means the world to me, and if you find this video inspiring, consider liking and sharing it to help me continue spreading these lessons. If you connect with the message of this video, please comment with a 1 to let me know. If not, feel free to comment with a 0 and share how I can improve my content for you. Now, let's get started. 11 things I let go of after turning 70. Turning 70 wasn't just another birthday for me. It marked a profound milestone, a moment that invited me to pause and reflect deeply on my life's journey and the path that lay ahead. As I crossed this significant threshold, I began to see that life wasn't simply about the passage of time or the numbers on the calendar. It was about embracing a beautiful transformation, a shift that was less about growing older and more about evolving into a truer version of myself. It was a time of shedding old patterns, behaviors, and beliefs that had once defined me but no longer aligned with the person I wanted to be. For decades, I had held on to certain things, thinking they were integral to my identity. But as I entered this new chapter of my life, I realized that much of what I carried was nothing more than excess baggage. These were things I had clung to out of habit, fear, or simply because I didn't know how to let go. In this process of releasing, I discovered something truly priceless, a profound sense of peace, an abundance of joy, and a deep, unshakable sense of purpose that I had never experienced before. Letting go wasn't easy. I had spent so many years believing that certain habits, fears, or expectations were essential to who I was. But as I embraced this new phase, I realized just how much weight I had been carrying. These mental, emotional, and sometimes even physical burdens had been clouding my happiness and preventing me from truly living freely. I made a conscious decision to let go of anything and everything that was holding me back from the life I had always dreamed of but was too afraid to claim. This was not about giving up. It wasn't about resigning myself to aging or simply accepting life as it was handed to me. It was about shedding those layers of conditioning that had built up over the years. I didn't want to be weighed down by outdated beliefs, fears of judgment, or the never-ending pressure to live up to other people's expectations. What I found, as I let go, was nothing short of miraculous. My heart felt lighter, my days grew brighter, and my sense of purpose became clearer than ever before. I had unknowingly been carrying unnecessary emotional baggage, things I didn't need. And in letting go of them, I found the freedom to truly live. True freedom, I learned, comes when we stop clinging to the past and allow ourselves to open up to the possibilities that the future holds, no matter what age we are. For me, reaching the age of 70 wasn't a limitation. It was a gateway to rediscovering who I really am, a person deserving of peace, joy, and fulfillment. This wasn't just about choosing to live a life free from regrets or burdens. It was about choosing what truly matters. I found that by focusing on the things that aligned with my values and goals, I could finally let go of everything that didn't serve me. And in return, I received the extraordinary gift of living authentically. By choosing to live this way, with more gratitude and purpose than I had ever thought possible, I unlocked an entirely new perspective on life. It wasn't just about decluttering my physical space. It was a deeper, more profound act of reclaiming my spirit and my sense of self. I let go of the things that no longer fit who I was becoming. And in doing so, I created room for the things that truly mattered: peace, love, and genuine joy. The result was nothing short of transformative. I began to embrace each day with a renewed sense of purpose and contentment. I was free from the heavy weight of societal pressures, old grudges, and the constant striving for perfection. Instead, I could now enjoy the richness of life's simple moments, appreciating them in ways I had never done before. So, the journey of letting go wasn't just about simplifying my life in the traditional sense. It was a powerful process of reclaiming my freedom and my spirit. It allowed me to shed the layers that were suffocating my true self. And now, at 70, I'm living a life that feels more real, more fulfilling, and more joyful than I ever imagined possible. 1. Letting go of working just to stay busy. In my younger years, I was constantly caught in an endless cycle of busyness, always striving to climb higher, achieve more, and prove my worth in the eyes of others. I believed that success was synonymous with being busy. I thought the key to making a mark in the world was to work tirelessly, juggle multiple projects, and stay on the move at all times. It was as if I had to keep up with an unrelenting pace, or else I might be left behind. In those days, the corporate grind was my reality, and my sense of self-worth was directly tied to how much I achieved, how many meetings I attended, and how many tasks I checked off my to-do list. Looking back, I see that I had become addicted to this frantic pace. I filled my schedule with activities, constantly moving from one responsibility to the next, never pausing to reflect on whether what I was doing truly mattered. I was consumed by the idea that being busy equaled being productive, and that to slow down was a sign of failure. Every minute had to be accounted for, and I would often sacrifice my personal time, hobbies, and even relationships, thinking that my career was the only thing that mattered. The idea of stopping to rest or take a break felt foreign to me. However, as I reached 70, a significant shift occurred within me. The realization came gradually, but it was profound. I started to see the toll that years of unrelenting busyness had taken on me, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. The constant hustle drained me not only of my energy, but also of my joy and the connection to the things that truly brought me happiness. I had spent so much time chasing after achievements that I had lost sight of the deeper, more meaningful aspects of life. The truth hit me hard. I wasn't truly living. I was merely going through the motions. I had been working out of habit, not out of passion or purpose. This stark realization completely transformed the way I viewed life. I began asking myself a fundamental question. Why am I doing this? What is the real reason behind my relentless busyness? The more I reflected, the clearer it became that much of the work I was doing no longer aligned with my core values or my true desires. It was just noise, a collection of tasks that kept me busy but didn't bring me any closer to my personal goals or provide any lasting satisfaction. I started to give myself permission to step back from things that no longer served me. If a project, task, or responsibility didn't resonate with me at a deeper level, or helped me move closer to what I truly wanted out of life. I let it go, and that decision, although difficult at first, felt incredibly liberating, like releasing a heavy burden I hadn't realized I had been carrying for decades. Letting go of the need to constantly be busy gave me the space to rediscover the simple joys of life. I began to embrace the present moment in ways I had never done before. No longer was I rushing to the next thing. Instead, I found myself savoring quiet moments, whether it was reading a book in the morning sun, taking long walks in nature, or simply enjoying a conversation with loved ones. I was able to reconnect with the people who mattered most to me, my family, my close friends, and build relationships that were more meaningful than any business achievement. I no longer equate busyness with success. I've come to understand that true wealth doesn't lie in how much work you do or how many tasks you complete. Instead, it's found in the time you spend nurturing relationships, in engaging with hobbies that bring genuine joy, and in the moments of stillness that allow for reflection, rest, and inner peace. I've learned that slowing down and taking time for myself isn't a luxury. It's essential. Every day now feels more intentional, more grounded in what truly matters to me. Whether it's making time for a creative pursuit like painting or simply enjoying a meal with my family, I'm finally living life on my own terms, in alignment with my deepest values. This shift has not only given me a greater sense of fulfillment, but has also opened up new perspectives on success, happiness, and well-being. 2. Breaking free from mindless spending. For countless years, I was ensnared in the unrelenting cycle of mindless spending, unaware of the negative impact it was having on my life. Everywhere I looked, I was bombarded with advertisements, social media posts, and messages from society that told me to buy more, accumulate more, and pursue a life filled with material possessions that promised happiness, status, and fulfillment. Like many others, I fell into this trap, believing that the next purchase would bring me lasting joy and satisfaction. My home became a reflection of my misguided pursuits. It was cluttered with gadgets, clothes, accessories, and other miscellaneous items that I thought would enhance my life. I convinced myself that each new thing would bring me a sense of fulfillment, as if acquiring more would somehow complete me. But the truth was far different. The joy I felt from each new purchase was fleeting. Brief moments of excitement followed by an inevitable sense of emptiness that would soon follow. As I continued down this path, I started to notice what remained after the temporary high of shopping faded. A house filled with things I didn't need, an overwhelming sense of disorganization, and a persistent feeling of dissatisfaction that no amount of buying could fill. This realization slowly dawned on me. Material possessions rarely provide the kind of lasting happiness we all crave. The things I had bought in hopes of bringing more meaning to my life were, in fact, doing the opposite. They were adding to my stress, draining my finances, and leaving me with a nagging sense of unfulfillment. Over time, as I matured and began to reflect on what truly brought me happiness, I came to a powerful realization. True wealth is not measured by what we own, but by the experiences we collect, the relationships we nurture, and the meaningful moments that enrich our lives. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that all those things I had accumulated, whether they were the latest tech gadgets, the trendiest clothes, or the countless trinkets that cluttered my home, none of them had brought me true joy. They had only distracted me from the things that truly mattered. This awakening sparked a major shift in my mindset. I made a conscious decision to break free from the cycle of mindless spending. I committed myself to spend with intention, carefully considering each purchase and asking myself whether it would genuinely add value to my life. For instance, instead of buying the latest fashionable item or the newest gadget, I chose to invest in experiences that truly enriched me, like traveling to new places to explore different cultures, or attending workshops that broaden my knowledge and skills. Even small purchases, like a book that challenged my thinking or a journal that helped me reflect on my personal growth, became a more meaningful investment. The transformation I've experienced has been profound. It's not just about saving money, though that has been a pleasant side effect, but about shifting my entire focus away from materialism and toward the things that actually bring me joy and fulfillment. I no longer feel the pull to shop impulsively or to fill an emotional void with things that add no real value to my life. Instead, I've learned to appreciate the beauty and simplicity in what I already have, whether it's the comfort of my home, the love of my family and friends, or the quiet moments spent reflecting on the things I've achieved. The deep sense of contentment that now fills my life comes not from the latest purchase or the accumulation of more stuff, but from focusing on the non-material aspects of life, experiences that nourish my soul, relationships that bring me joy, and moments of stillness that help me reconnect with my true self. Breaking free from the cycle of mindless spending has allowed me to live more intentionally. And in doing so, I've discovered a wealth far more valuable than anything money could buy. 3. Letting go of stressing over the small things. When I was younger, I had a tendency to let even the smallest inconveniences completely throw me off balance. Whether it was being stuck in a traffic jam, having a petty disagreement with someone, or dealing with a sudden, last-minute change of plans, I would let these seemingly insignificant annoyances get under my skin. Rather than brushing them off or accepting them as part of life, I allowed them to simmer inside me, slowly growing into a larger, more overwhelming source of stress. That stress would linger and follow me around, weigh me down throughout the day. It became exhausting, feeling constantly on edge about things that, in the grand scheme of things, had no lasting impact. I didn't realize it at the time, but this constant low-level anxiety was stealing my joy and preventing me from being truly present. I was so focused on fixing or controlling things outside my influence that I failed to notice the simple beauty of the moment I was living in. Life became a series of hurdles, small, daily challenges that were blown out of proportion. Whether it was worrying about getting caught in a storm or stressing over trivial misunderstandings, I often found myself caught up in an endless loop of negative thoughts and emotions. I couldn't help but wonder if all this anxiety was really necessary. Then, when I reached the age of 70, something inside me began to shift. It was as if a veil had lifted, and I finally saw the bigger picture. I began to ask myself a question every time I felt my stress building up. Will this matter a year from now? And, almost without fail, the answer was a clear and resounding no. That simple question became a powerful tool for perspective, helping me recognize that most of the things that caused me stress were fleeting and insignificant in the long run. Once I made this realization, everything changed. I slowly began to let go of the small, inconsequential things that used to consume so much of my mental energy. It felt like I had shed a heavy weight, one that I had unknowingly been carrying around for years. I realized that by obsessing over things I couldn't control, I was robbing myself of the peace and contentment that could be mine. Once I started to let go of the trivial annoyances, a sense of freedom and clarity washed over me. Traffic jams? They're just a temporary inconvenience. Arguments with friends or family? They're often based on misunderstandings that don't warrant lingering anger. Plans that fall through at the last minute? They will soon be forgotten, and there will be other opportunities ahead. By focusing on what I could control, my reactions, my attitude, my outlook on life, I found a new sense of balance and calm. I no longer felt compelled to fight against every little setback or challenge that came my way. I learned to embrace the unpredictability of life with a sense of acceptance, understanding that life doesn't always go as planned, and that's perfectly fine. There's a certain beauty in the imperfection and chaos of life that I had previously overlooked. By letting go of my need for control, I found a deeper sense of peace that I hadn't thought possible. Today, I approach each day with a more grounded perspective, one where I don't let minor setbacks dictate my mood or energy. Instead, I embrace the unpredictability of life with open arms. I have learned that, more often than not, it's the small things that we let slip under our skin that prevent us from experiencing the richness of life as it unfolds. So, I choose to let go of the stress, and in doing so, I have discovered a newfound freedom to simply be, for prioritizing self-care over pleasing others. For much of my life, I was caught in an endless cycle of striving to please others, whether it was my family, my friends, or my colleagues. I always placed their needs, desires, and expectations above my own, believing that this was the noble thing to do. I wore my selflessness like a badge of honor, convinced that by putting others first, I was somehow becoming a better person. I thought that my value was determined by how much I could sacrifice for others. However, despite my best efforts, this pattern left me feeling emotionally drained, physically exhausted, and, over time, disconnected from who I truly was. I was so focused on everyone else's needs that I completely lost sight of my own. The energy I had to give was all spent, and I found myself empty, unable to nurture my own well-being. It wasn't until I reached the age of 70 that a profound realization hit me. I finally understood that self-care isn't selfish. It's essential for maintaining balance and well-being. This was a revelation that fundamentally changed how I approach life. And it took years of unlearning and rethinking my priorities to fully grasp its importance. In a society where we are constantly conditioned to put others first, whether it's through social expectations, family pressures, or workplace dynamics, it's easy to feel guilty for even considering the idea of taking time for oneself. I had spent decades internalizing the belief that self-care was a luxury, something indulgent that only selfish people could afford. But the truth is, the more I ignored my own needs, the more I felt disconnected from myself and those around me. I had to unlearn the notion that taking care of myself was the same as neglecting others. This shift wasn't easy, but it was nothing short of liberating. I started with small, manageable steps, carving out time for myself every morning. These moments became sacred, whether it was a few minutes of deep breathing and meditation, a leisurely walk through the park surrounded by nature, or simply sitting with a cup of tea and immersing myself in a good book. I began to replenish my mind and spirit. I focused on nurturing myself, acknowledging the importance of being kind to myself the same way I had always been kind to others. I practiced gratitude for the small joys in my life, finding peace in the present moment rather than constantly rushing to fulfill everyone else's demands. This newfound commitment to self-care gradually transformed my life. It was like finally replenishing a well that had been dry for far too long. I realized that when I made my own well-being a priority, I had so much more to give to those I loved. I became more present in my relationships, no longer feeling resentful or exhausted. Instead, I was able to engage from a place of abundance, energy, and love. When I tended to my own needs, I found that I had far more patience and compassion to offer others. I was not just surviving anymore. but truly thriving, and this positive shift rippled out into every aspect of my life. Have you ever found yourself in the position where you're constantly putting others' needs before your own, neglecting what you need in order to meet their expectations? It's incredibly easy to fall into this pattern, thinking that caring for yourself is somehow a selfish act. But in reality, it's the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for others. Imagine how much more joy, patience, and energy you would have to share with the people you care about if you made your own well-being a priority. What would happen if you began to carve out space in your day just for you? How would your life change if self-care became a non-negotiable part of your routine? For me, choosing to prioritize self-care has been nothing short of transformative. It has allowed me to show up more fully for myself and for those I love. It's a daily reminder that I deserve the same level of care, compassion, and attention that I so freely give to others. Self-care isn't a luxury or an afterthought. It is a necessity. By embracing it, I've discovered a deeper sense of peace, balance, and fulfillment in my life. And in the process, I have learned that taking care of myself is not only beneficial for me, but it also enables me to love and support others in a way that is sustainable and nourishing. It's never too late to start this journey. Prioritizing self-care might feel like a shift at first, but with time, it becomes a natural and deeply rewarding part of living. The more we invest in ourselves, the more we have to give. 5. Saying no to overcommitment. For much of my life, I was the person who couldn't say no, whether it was agreeing to attend social gatherings, volunteering for various causes, or helping out friends and family with their endless requests. I was always ready to step in. I believed that by saying yes to everything, I would make people happy and never disappoint anyone. However, in my quest to be there for everyone, I ended up filling my days to the absolute brim with obligations, constantly racing from one task or event to the next. But as the calendar became more crowded, the personal costs became undeniable. My peace, my well-being, and my own happiness were all sacrificed in the process. I found myself with no time to relax, no time to unwind, and certainly no time for myself. Physically, I was drained, and emotionally, I was spent. Despite all the commitments I had made, I wasn't feeling fulfilled or truly connected. Instead, I was simply exhausted, feeling more like a machine checking off tasks rather than a person living intentionally. It soon became painfully clear, constantly saying yes was not helping me thrive. It was, in fact, depleting me. Over the years, as I've grown and evolved, I've come to realize that learning to say no is not only okay, it's one of the most empowering decisions I've made. Saying no is not about being selfish or dismissive of others. Rather, it's about understanding my limits and being mindful of where I allocate my time, energy, and attention. It's about creating boundaries that protect my well-being and ensure I'm only engaging in activities and relationships that align with my personal values and goals. Now, when faced with a new commitment, I pause and ask myself a few key questions. Does this opportunity align with my core values? Does it contribute positively to my life or bring me joy? Will it take time away from what truly matters to me? If the answer is no, I don't hesitate to politely decline. I've become more discerning in choosing what I say yes to. And I've learned that I don't need to explain myself or feel guilty about protecting my time. This shift in mindset has been one of the most liberating changes I've made. By embracing the power of saying no, I've created more space in my life for the things that genuinely matter. I no longer feel the pressure to please everyone or to fulfill every request that comes my way. Instead, I focus my energy on the commitments that bring me authentic happiness. fulfillment, and growth. There's a quiet power in being able to choose your commitments, to guard your time and energy, and to decide where you invest yourself. It's a practice that brings balance, peace, and, most importantly, a deeper connection to the things that bring meaning to my life. Have you ever found yourself overcommitting, even when you know it will leave you feeling drained or overwhelmed? Perhaps you feel compelled to agree to everything, even when it's not in your best interest. The truth is, many of us are caught in this cycle, fearing that saying no will disappoint others or damage relationships. But imagine, just for a moment, how freeing it would be to only say yes to things that truly nourish your soul and align with your values. How much lighter would you feel if you didn't have to juggle every request that comes your way? Think about one recent commitment you've made that's been taking more from you than it gives. How might your life shift if you decided to say no to similar requests in the future? For me, saying no has truly been a game changer. It's given me the precious gift of time to rest, reflect, and reconnect with what's truly important to me. It has allowed me to nurture my relationships, engage in activities that bring me joy, and focus on personal growth. By letting go of the constant need to overcommit, I've not only reclaimed my energy, but also found a renewed sense of purpose and fulfillment in the commitments I choose to take on. Saying no is not a rejection of others. It's an affirmation of yourself. It's an act of self-care and a way of prioritizing your well-being. In the end, it's a reminder that saying no isn't just about closing doors, but about opening up the space for the things that truly matter. 6. Ending unhealthy relationships. Relationships are the foundation of our existence. They play a significant role in shaping our identities, influencing how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. Yet, not all relationships are healthy or positive. Over the years, I found myself holding on to connections with people who neither respected me nor contributed positively to my well-being. These were the kinds of relationships, whether with friends, colleagues, or even family members, that I kept because of a deep-seated sense of duty, obligation, or fear of being alone, despite how draining and emotionally exhausting they were. I felt compelled to maintain them. These individuals, in many cases, brought negativity, stress, and even resentment into my life. I would feel anxious and depleted after spending time with them, yet I convinced myself that I had to keep going. I feared that ending these relationships would cause disappointment, resentment, or loneliness. My internal battle was rooted in the belief that I couldn't walk away without letting others down. Or worse, being left without the social connections that I thought were essential to my happiness. Even though a part of me knew these relationships weren't fulfilling or healthy, I kept holding on. But as I reached the milestone of turning 70, something within me began to shift. I had an epiphany, a wake-up call, that life is far too short to continue investing time in relationships that don't bring joy, peace, or fulfillment. I realized that the time spent with people who drain your energy or make you feel insignificant is time that could be better spent on building connections that truly enhance your life. For years, I had allowed the guilt of letting go to keep me bound to these toxic relationships. The fear of being alone was always present, but the emotional toll of staying in these unhealthy dynamics was starting to outweigh the fear of solitude. When I finally decided to prioritize my own well-being, the shift was both freeing and empowering, albeit difficult. I wasn't severing ties out of malice or bitterness, but rather out of a profound need to protect myself. Ending unhealthy relationships doesn't happen overnight, nor is it something that is easily done without hesitation. There was a lot of guilt and fear of disappointing others. But what I learned is that At times, self-preservation is not selfish. It's an act of self-love. By releasing these negative connections, I made space in my life for those who truly cared about me, supported my growth, and genuinely wished for my happiness. I began to surround myself with people who were not only kind and empathetic, but who shared mutual respect, encouragement, and love. These relationships were uplifting, nourishing, and enriching, allowing me to grow and flourish as an individual. The impact of this decision was life-changing. By letting go of toxic relationships, I created room for more meaningful and fulfilling connections. No longer weighed down by the negativity of people who were draining my emotional resources, I found myself experiencing a sense of peace that had eluded me for years. It was as though a heavy burden had been lifted from my shoulders. I was now surrounded by individuals who made me feel valued, appreciated, and loved for who I truly am. Perhaps you, too, have people in your life who leave you feeling exhausted or emotionally spent after spending time with them. Maybe, like me, you've been holding on to relationships that deep down, no longer serve you. You might be afraid to let go, unsure of what life would look like without these individuals. But ask yourself, what if you focused on building connections with people who bring out the best in you? What if you surrounded yourself with those who inspire you, encourage your dreams, and make you feel seen and heard? The difference in how you feel, both emotionally and mentally, could be profound. Ending unhealthy relationships isn't an easy or painless process, but it is an incredibly powerful act of self-care. It's not about acting out of anger or revenge. It's about choosing to prioritize your happiness and well-being. It's about making the conscious decision to invest your time and energy into people who make you feel whole, supported, and loved. Since I made the decision to let go of relationships that no longer served me, my life has been filled with deeper, more meaningful connections. I feel lighter, more at peace, and more fulfilled than I ever thought possible. Sometimes, the most liberating gift you can give yourself is the freedom to walk away from what no longer nourishes your soul. So, take a moment to reflect on your own relationships. Are there people who consistently bring negativity into your life? People who make you feel smaller or unimportant? It's okay to walk away from them, no matter how long you've known them. Your peace, your well-being, and your happiness are worth the investment. And sometimes, walking away is the healthiest, most loving choice you can make for both yourself and them. 7. Putting my health first. For far too many years, I made the mistake of relegating my health to the back burner, always convinced that there were more pressing matters demanding my attention. Work deadlines, family obligations, and the endless list of responsibilities that come with daily life seemed to constantly overshadow any thought of self-care. I would often tell myself, I'll get to it later, as though there would always be time to focus on my well-being. But when I turned 70, everything changed. I experienced a moment of profound realization, a moment where I could no longer afford to overlook my health. It was as if a light bulb had switched on, and I finally understood that, without good health, all the things I cherished would be at risk of slipping away. The simple, joyful moments I had taken for granted, like playing with my grandkids, taking long walks through nature, or waking up without feeling sore and stiff, were no longer guaranteed. I began to recognize that health isn't just about the absence of illness. It's about having the energy and vitality to truly live life. The idea that my well-being should be a priority finally took root in my mind. But this change didn't happen overnight. It wasn't an instant transformation, but rather a gradual process. It started small, with changes that were simple and manageable, yet impactful. For example, I made a commitment to walk every morning. At first, it wasn't about fitness or weight loss. It was about carving out time for myself, a quiet moment to reconnect with my thoughts and the world around me. That daily walk became my sanctuary, a space for reflection and peace that I had never allowed myself before. I also began rethinking the foods I ate. For years, convenience had driven my eating habits, and processed foods were the go-to in my busy schedule. But as I became more aware of how food impacts my body, I swapped out those quick, unhealthy meals for fresher, more nutritious options. I embraced whole foods, including more fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins, and slowly, I started to feel the difference. My energy levels increased, my digestion improved, and I simply felt better in my own skin. Perhaps the most profound change, though, was the introduction of meditation into my daily routine. Prior to that, I had always dismissed the practice, thinking it was something only spiritual people did. However, when I began to experiment with mindfulness and quiet reflection, I discovered a new dimension to my mental and emotional health. Meditation allowed me to slow down, clear my mind, and let go of stress, something I hadn't known I needed until I gave it a try. Through meditation, I found balance and clarity that had long eluded me. These small but significant changes didn't just improve my physical health. They opened up a whole new world of mental and emotional well-being. As I became more attuned to my body, I also noticed a greater sense of emotional stability and clarity in my thoughts. I felt more connected to myself and to the world around me. I understood, in a deeper way, that health truly is wealth. No amount of money, success, or achievement can replace the feeling of waking up every day feeling strong, capable, and mentally clear. The richness of life is found in these moments of vitality and presence. What's more, I've come to realize that it is never too late to start. It doesn't matter how old you are or how long you've neglected your health. Taking even the smallest step toward improvement can create ripple effects that transform every area of your life. For example, imagine committing to a 10-minute walk every day or choosing a healthier meal when you usually opt for something quick and processed. These simple actions may seem small, but over time, they build momentum and become the foundation for a healthier, more fulfilling life. Think about how often you put your health last. We all do it to some extent, allowing work, family, and other commitments to take priority. But what if you just shifted your focus, even for a moment, and made your well-being the priority? What if, instead of pushing your health aside, you dedicated a few minutes each day to something small and meaningful, a walk, a meal choice, or a moment of stillness? You might be amazed at how these seemingly insignificant changes can accumulate and make a profound difference in your life. For me, prioritizing my health has been nothing short of transformative. It's not just about extending the length of my life. It's about enhancing the quality of my life. I've learned that good health is the bedrock of everything else, the foundation that allows you to enjoy the things that truly matter. If I can make these changes at 70, I truly believe that anyone, no matter their age, can benefit from prioritizing their health. So, I encourage you to think about this. What is one small thing you can do today to improve your health? Maybe it's a short walk, a healthy snack, or just 5 minutes of quiet reflection. You may be surprised by how much it changes your outlook on life and, in turn, changes your life itself. Your future self will thank you. 8. Overcoming the habit of procrastinating on personal goals. Time has a peculiar way of deceiving us. In our youth, it seems boundless, stretching infinitely ahead, allowing us to believe that there will always be someday to pursue our dreams. For much of my life, I fell into this trap, thinking I could delay my passions, that there would be a time later to focus on the goals I quietly harbored. Caught up in the busyness of daily life, I kept pushing these dreams aside, promising myself that there would be space for them in the future. Then, as I approached my 70th birthday, I was met with a profound realization. Later is not a guarantee. This realization was my wake-up call, one that struck deeply and forced me to confront the procrastination that had held me back. I decided it was time to stop waiting for the perfect moment, that elusive someday, and to begin taking meaningful action on the dreams I had shelved for too long. I no longer wanted to be someone who looked back on life with a lingering sense of what if, wondering what could have been if only I had started sooner. So, I embarked on this journey of reclaiming my goals. Whether it was learning to paint, finally visiting the places I had always longed to see, or simply picking up and finishing the books I had abandoned over the years, I committed myself to my personal dreams. But this time, I pursued them with newfound intention, a deeper determination, and, most importantly, a sense of joy and fulfillment. There's a unique power in deciding that the right time is now, that the only true moment we have is the present one. I stopped waiting, stopped making excuses, and started honoring the things that mattered most to me. This shift brought a sense of magic and wonder to my life that I hadn't experienced before. Each day feels more purposeful, filled with a childlike excitement and a renewed sense of adventure. I've left behind the mindset of someday and embraced the here and now. It feels exhilarating and liberating. Have you ever put your dreams on hold, promising yourself you'd get to them when things were just right? What's stopping you from taking that first step toward them today? Imagine the possibilities if you stopped waiting for that perfect time and instead began chasing your dreams right now. Think about a goal that has been quietly lingering in the back of your mind. From my experience, I can tell you that when you finally stop procrastinating on what truly matters, everything changes. It's not about having everything mapped out or waiting for the stars to align. It's about making that first move, no matter how small, and seeing how those tiny steps accumulate into something extraordinary over time. The perfect moment is now, and I assure you, once you begin, you'll find yourself wondering why you didn't take that leap earlier. So, what's holding you back? Start today. Take that first step and watch how your life begins to transform in ways you may never have imagined. 9. Embracing change instead of fearing. It is one of the most transformative choices we can make in life. For a long time, I let fear of change hold me back. The idea of anything in my life shifting or evolving filled me with anxiety. I clung tightly to what was familiar, thinking that holding on to the status quo would keep me safe and protected. Even when I felt a subtle sense of dissatisfaction or stagnation, I convinced myself that the security of my comfort zone was worth the price of my own growth and potential. But as the years went by, especially as I reached the age of 70, my perspective began to shift. I gradually understood that change is not just inevitable, it's a vital part of life. Resisting it didn't stop it from coming. More importantly, I began to see that change often opens the doors to growth, renewal, and even self-discovery. Each shift, no matter how daunting, held the potential to unlock parts of myself I hadn't yet encountered. Embracing change rather than resisting it became an active choice, and that choice transformed my life profoundly. Where I once saw change as something to fear, I now see it as an opportunity. Instead of closing myself off from the unknown, I started viewing change as an entryway into new experiences, relationships, and ways of understanding myself and the world. It hasn't always been easy. Some changes come with uncertainty and challenge, but but the reward has been greater than I ever imagined. Embracing change has brought a sense of freedom, curiosity, and adventure into my life. Elements I once thought were reserved for younger years, but have found anew in later life. Each change, big or small, now feels like a stepping stone towards learning, growing, and evolving. By welcoming the inevitable shifts that life brings, I have opened myself up to far more than I ever thought possible. I no longer cling to the past or hold on to what feels safe simply out of fear. Instead, I approach each new experience with curiosity, asking myself questions like, what lessons could this experience bring? Or how might I evolve through this transition? Change, I've found, has a remarkable way of transforming us, often in ways that are unexpected yet deeply fulfilling. It has brought me closer to understanding my true self and has added a sense of excitement and renewal to my everyday life. Imagine if you stopped fearing change and started viewing it as an adventure, a gateway to uncovering parts of yourself you didn't know existed. Imagine how differently your life could unfold if, instead of resisting life's natural shifts, you leaned into them wholeheartedly, open to the growth and wisdom they might bring. Are there changes in your life that you've been holding back from because of fear? What might happen if you chose to face them with curiosity and acceptance rather than anxiety and hesitation? This shift in mindset has been nothing short of life-changing for me. Embracing change rather than fearing it has unlocked dimensions of joy, growth, and freedom that I hadn't experienced before. So, what's stopping you from leaning into change? Let it guide you, teach you, and lead you toward a life filled with fresh possibilities. Adventure is waiting. You simply have to be willing to take that first step. 10. Valuing sleep as a cornerstone of health. Sleep is one of the most fundamental aspects of our health. Yet it's often the first thing we sacrifice, especially when we're younger. Many of us fall into the trap of thinking we can survive on just a few hours of sleep, telling ourselves that we'll catch up later, whether it's staying up late to finish work, socialize, or get lost in the endless scroll of our phones. We convince ourselves that there's always something more pressing. I, too, used to believe that rest was an afterthought. I often pushed through the fatigue, convinced I could function just fine, even when my energy reserves were running low. But as I've gotten older, I've begun to realize just how critical sleep is to my well-being, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. I've come to understand that sleep is not a luxury or an optional indulgence. It is absolutely essential. It's in those quiet, restorative hours when our bodies regenerate, our minds reset, and our spirits recharge. Without proper rest, our bodies struggle to repair themselves, our thoughts become clouded, and our emotional resilience weakens. In short, sleep is the foundation of good health. Now, I no longer take sleep for granted. I've learned to make it a non-negotiable part of my routine and treat it as a cornerstone of my overall well-being. Gone are the nights of staying up late, whether watching TV, working just a bit longer, or mindlessly browsing social media. Instead, I prioritize rest above all else. I've created a consistent bedtime routine that helps signal to my body that it's time to wind down. A warm cup of herbal tea, reading a book, or engaging in a few minutes of gentle meditation has become my new normal. These simple practices help ease the tension of the day and prepare my mind for deep, restorative sleep. The impact of this shift has been nothing short of transformative. Waking up feeling refreshed, energized, and mentally clear has become one of the most rewarding changes I've made. I no longer drag myself through the day, struggling to function on limited energy. Instead, I wake up feeling fully alive, ready to tackle the day ahead with a sense of purpose and vitality. Sleep has truly become the secret to my productivity, mood stability, and mental clarity. I can't emphasize enough how important sleep is, not only for physical health, but also for mental sharpness and emotional balance. Have you ever paused to reflect on how much better you might feel with a little more rest? Consider how your mood, energy levels, and even your productivity might improve if you started prioritizing sleep. It's amazing how even small changes, like an extra hour of sleep or a more calming bedtime routine, can lead to significant improvements in your day-to-day life. What's one small change you can make tonight to improve your sleep quality? Maybe it's turning off screens an hour earlier, setting a more consistent sleep schedule, or introducing a calming ritual before bed. For me, the simple act of truly valuing sleep has been life-changing. It's a lesson in respecting my body's needs and recognizing that rest is not a luxury, but an essential component of living a full, vibrant life. So tonight, take a moment to unwind earlier. Create a peaceful, screen-free environment and let yourself rest deeply. Your body, mind, and spirit will thank you. And you may just discover how much better you can feel when sleep is prioritized. 11. Letting go of comparisons. Comparing ourselves to others is something most of us do without even realizing it. I spent so many years of my life quietly measuring my worth against others, comparing their achievements, their appearances, and their lifestyles to my own. It was almost instinctive, as if validation could only be found by seeing how I stacked up next to those around me. Whether it was through career success, personal milestones, or even superficial things like physical appearance, I allowed the lives of others to dictate how I felt about myself. But when I turned 70, everything changed. I had a revelation that hit me deeply. Comparison is a thief of joy. I realized that no matter how much I compared myself to others, it would never lead to happiness. Instead, it only sowed seeds of self-doubt, envy, and dissatisfaction. I stopped looking outward for validation and began to turn inward, focusing on my unique journey. Each of us walks a different path, and there's no universal measure of success or happiness. We all have our timelines, our struggles, and our victories. By letting go of the need to compare, I found something far more valuable than outside approval. I found peace. A deep sense of contentment washed over me as I began to appreciate my life for exactly what it is, rather than constantly wishing it were different or more like someone else's. The shift in mindset was nothing short of transformative. No longer weighed down by the constant pressure to measure up, I felt lighter, freer, and more joyful. I realized that the life I've lived is enough. More than enough. It's mine, and it's uniquely beautiful in its own way. The energy I once wasted on comparison is now spent on appreciating the small, precious moments that make my life meaningful. What would happen if you stopped comparing yourself to others? Imagine the joy, the peace, and the contentment you might find if you focused on your journey, on the beauty of your unique path. How often do you find yourself measuring your life against someone else's? What might change if you shifted that focus inward, choosing instead to celebrate the person you are, the life you've built, and the path you're on? For me, letting go of comparisons has been one of the most freeing decisions I've ever made. It's allowed me to embrace my life, flaws and all, with a sense of pride and gratitude I didn't know I was capable of. I stopped wishing for someone else's life and started living fully on my own. So, the next time you catch yourself comparing, take a moment to pause and remind yourself that your journey is your own. And that's exactly how it's meant to be. You might just find that joy and contentment have been waiting for you all along. Living with intention after 70, letting go of these 11 things has been one of the most profound and transformative experiences of my life. Each step away from old habits, beliefs, and relationships that no longer serve me has allowed me to embrace a life of greater intention. It has brought me clarity, peace, and an overwhelming sense of freedom. For the first time in decades, I'm able to focus on what truly matters, on the people, passions, and moments that fill my heart with joy. Living with intention means making choices that align with my values and investing my time and energy in ways that bring meaning and purpose to each day. As I move forward into this next chapter of life, I feel a renewed sense of purpose, one that is grounded in the things that nourish my soul. I no longer waste time on the things that hold me back or drain me. Instead, I choose to spend my days in ways that uplift me, with people who support me, and on pursuits that bring me true fulfillment. Life after 70 isn't about slowing down. It's about living with more focus, more gratitude, and more intention than ever before. If you're approaching or already in your 70s, take a moment to reflect. What might you need to let go of to live more fully? Are there habits, mindsets, or relationships that are weighing you down? Your time's precious. Don't waste it on things that no longer serve you. Living with intention is about choosing a life that brings you peace, joy, and purpose every single day. And it's never too late to start embracing your own journey. Aging often carries a narrative of decline, something to resist or fear. But what if we reframed it as an opportunity? An opportunity to embrace who we are, not who we were. Aging gives us the space to shed the unnecessary and live a life that truly reflects our authentic selves. It's not about becoming someone new, but rather becoming more of ourselves. Take a moment to think about your journey. Were there habits or commitments that no longer serve you? Perhaps some relationships have grown toxic, or you're still holding on to fears that keep you from living fully. The beauty of life after 70 is that you have the wisdom to make these decisions with intention. What would your ideal day look like if you let go of everything that weighed you down? Imagine living that day, every day. Try journaling about one thing, big or small, that you could release to create more space for joy and peace in your life. Building a legacy of joy and peace. One of the most powerful gifts of aging is the legacy we leave behind. Not just through what we do, but through how we live. When we prioritize our well-being, embrace change, and let go of what no longer serves us, we set an example for our loved ones. We show them that life doesn't need to be perfect to be beautiful, and that it's never too late to make positive changes. Imagine the impact of living a life filled with intention, joy, and peace, not just for yourself, but for those around you, your children, grandchildren, friends, and even your community will be inspired by your choices. Witnessing the power of personal growth at any age. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? How do you want to be remembered? If there was one change you could make today, what would it be? And what's stopping you from taking that step toward a more intentional life? Staying connected and finding your community. As we age, maintaining meaningful connections becomes essential to living fully. It's easy to feel isolated, especially when life changes, like retirement or health challenges, disrupt our routines. But finding your community can make all the difference. Whether it's through hobbies, volunteering, or simply spending time with friends, staying connected is a powerful antidote to loneliness. Engage with people who share your interests and who understand the unique joys and challenges of this stage of life. Join a book club, participate in a walking group, or connect online. These relationships remind us that we're never truly alone. Have you been curious about trying a new activity or group? Don't underestimate the power of a simple hello or extending an invitation that can open the door to new friendships and experiences that enrich your life. Living with gratitude and purpose. At the heart of all these changes lies one key practice: gratitude. As we grow older, it can be easy to focus on what we've lost or what has changed. But by shifting our focus to what we have, our health, our relationships, our experiences, we transform the way we experience each day. Gratitude isn't just about saying thank you out loud. It's about living. Thank you. It's about appreciating the sunrise, savoring your morning coffee, and finding joy in the little moments. Imagine waking up every day filled with gratitude for the life you have, rather than longing for the life you wish you had. How would that change your outlook? Try starting or ending your day with a gratitude journal, writing down 3 things you're thankful for, whether big or small. You might be surprised at how quickly your perspective shifts, bringing unexpected beauty and joy into your everyday life. Looking forward to the next chapter of your life. As you move forward into the next chapter of your life, it's essential to remember that this new phase is unwritten. A blank canvas waiting to be painted with your experiences, choices, and the lessons you've gathered over the years. Feel this is your time to reflect, reinvent, and step into a phase of life that is entirely your own. The beauty of reaching this stage is that the pressures of others' expectations begin to fade, leaving room for you to live authentically on your terms. It's a chance to let go of the past habits, relationships, or roles that no longer serve you, and to embrace the things that bring you joy, fulfillment, and peace. Too often, aging is viewed as an ending. But what if instead we saw it as a new beginning? Life after 70 is not a closing chapter. It's a fresh start, filled with opportunities for growth, discovery, and connection. You are not defined by your past, but by how you choose to live each day moving forward. What will this next chapter look like for you? How can you make it the most meaningful and fulfilling phase yet? As you turn the page, remember that you have the wisdom, freedom, and power to shape your story in a way that honors who you are and all that you've learned. The narrative is yours to write, and the possibilities are limitless. The power of intention, creating a life that reflects you. Living intentionally means approaching life with purpose, with the understanding that each choice you make can either bring you closer to fulfillment or pull you away from it. It's about making conscious decisions that reflect who you are now, rather than who you once were or society expects of you. This may mean setting clearer boundaries, slowing down, or simplifying certain aspects of your life. It may involve reevaluating what success means to you and recognizing that your values today may differ from what they were 20, 30, or 40 years ago. As you navigate this new chapter, permit yourself to be true to yourself. Let go of the need to live up to external standards or past versions of yourself. Focus instead on what feels right in this moment. What does living intentionally mean to you? Is it about cultivating more peace, finding time for the hobbies or passions you've always wanted to explore? Perhaps it's about strengthening your relationships with loved ones or learning something new. The beauty of living with intention is that it's deeply personal. There's no right or wrong way to do it as long as it reflects your values. Each morning offers a new opportunity to live intentionally. Take a few moments when you wake up to set an intent for the day ahead. It doesn't have to be complicated. Something as simple as choosing to be kind to yourself or deciding to spend time doing something you love can set the tone for a day filled with purpose. Living intentionally means taking control of how you spend your time, energy, and focus. What will your intention be tomorrow? How can you align your daily actions with the things that matter most to you? Honoring your journey, the courage to let go. Letting go is one of the most challenging, yet liberating things we can do. It takes tremendous courage to release the familiar, even when we know it no longer serves us. Whether it's an old habit, a toxic relationship, or a lingering sense of self-doubt, letting go is an act of self-love. It creates space for new, healthier things to take root. When we hold on to things out of fear or comfort, we limit ourselves from experiencing the fullness of life. As you step into this new chapter, think about the areas of your life where you feel stuck. Are there habits you've been carrying for years that no longer align with who you are today? Are there relationships that drain your energy rather than nourish your spirit? Perhaps it's time to release the need for perfection or the fear of change. Letting go isn't about abandoning your past. It's about honoring your journey by making room for what's ahead. Each time you let go of something that's holding you back, you open yourself up to new possibilities, growth, and deeper fulfillment. What would happen if you dared to let go of the things that no longer serve you? Could you find more peace, joy, and freedom? Take a moment to reflect on one area of your life where you feel stuck or weighed down. What's one small thing you could let go of today to move forward with greater ease? Letting go may feel difficult at first, but it's one of the most powerful ways to honor the person you are becoming. If you're still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. Celebrating your progress and acknowledging the small wins. As we grow older, it's easy to get caught up in what's next, what's left to do, and what we still want to accomplish. But it's equally important to pause and celebrate how far you've come. Every small step you take toward living more intentionally, letting go, or embracing change is a victory worth acknowledging. Too often, we focus on the destination, forgetting that the journey itself is where life happens. Your life is not defined by the big moments alone, but by the small, everyday decisions that shape your path. Take time to acknowledge your progress. No matter how small it may seem, each decision to live with intention, each moment you choose peace over worry, and each relationship you nurture is proof of your resilience, growth, and commitment to living fully. It's easy to overlook the progress we've made when we're constantly looking ahead. But taking the time to celebrate these victories builds momentum and reminds us of our strength. At the end of each day, take a few moments to reflect on something you did well. It doesn't have to be a monumental achievement. Sometimes, the smallest victories are the most meaningful. Maybe you set a boundary that honored your needs. Or perhaps you made time for something that brings you joy. Whatever it is, take pride in the progress you're making. Celebrating your journey, not just the destination, is a powerful way to stay connected to the present and continue moving forward with purpose. The best is yet to come, embracing your future with an open heart. As you look toward the future, remember that life after 70 is rich with possibilities. This chapter is not about slowing down or settling. It's about embracing the freedom, wisdom, and experience that come with age. You've lived a full life, and now you have the opportunity to shape your future in a way that reflects everything you've learned along the way. The best is yet to come, not because life will be perfect, but because you have the power to live intentionally with purpose and joy. Each day is a new beginning, a chance to approach life with curiosity, compassion, and an open heart. Imagine what your life could look like if you embraced every day as an opportunity to live more fully, more authentically. What if your best days are still ahead of you? What if each morning brings with it the possibility for growth, connection, and new experiences? No matter where you are on your journey, you have the power to shape your future. Every choice you make, every action you take, and every intention you set is a step toward the life you want to live. Trust in the beauty of your unique journey and never stop believing that the best is yet to come. You are the author of your own story, and each day is a chance to write a new chapter, one filled with gratitude, purpose, and joy. So, as you move forward, embrace your future with an open heart and know that the possibilities are endless. As we come to the end of this journey together, take a moment to reflect on everything we've discussed. What have you learned so far? Perhaps it's the importance of living with intention, letting go of what no longer serves you, or embracing the beauty of each new chapter in life. Whatever it may be, we'd love to hear from you. Comment below and share one thing you've learned and how you plan to bring it into practice in your own life. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where support means the world to us. We look forward to bringing you more content that inspires growth, joy, and purpose. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.